Prix, where both Verstappen and Perez stopped with fuel cavitation, or vapour lock if you prefer.
So it is a problem with the engine then, is what I'm getting from this. What is going on, guys? It is JJ here, back with a new video, and today, I know my voice is nearly gone, but it is nearly gone, not only because of karaoke, but also because of watching the Australian GP. If you've not seen my highlights review of the Australian Grand Prix, please go take a look. Please go take a look at it. It'll be in the little info code here. It'll be in the description. It'll be in the comments. Go take a look at it. What a fucking race! What a race! Which some people said is boring, but it's, I mean, mainly because Leclerc led from start to finish. Guys, Red Bull seem to always take the headlines, even if they're not winning. And it is once again these reliability issues that are causing Max Verstappen so much drama. Red Bull currently sit in 4 and 6 in the Drivers' Championship. Mercedes currently sit at 2 and 5, and they've had arguably the worst car of the two of them. Insane. Insane. I need to know what's going wrong with Max Verstappen's car though, because I do not know. I don't get why Red Bull are having these issues. It just seems like it's going to be a long-term thing in the season, although I really hope it's not. Because we almost got the Verstappen-Leclerc battle again. Just the Ferrari was light years ahead of them. But yeah, we're going to take a look at this and try to understand the Max Verstappen Red Bull reliability issues. Let me know your guys' thoughts, comments, concerns, your thoughts on the race, what you guys see happening in the future. We have obviously, what, 20 more races left? Is it 20 or 19? 20. A lot of points still to be taken. Very early in the season. However, some warning signs are here. Some warning signs are really here. It's gonna be interesting. But yeah, let's get into the video. As well, guys, you can find the original video on the race down in the description below. Please go take a look at it. They are phenomenal.
Max Verstappen's retirement from second place in the Australian Grand Prix leaves him, in his words, already miles behind Charles Leclerc in the fight for the World Championship.
Yeah, Jesus.
It's his second retirement.
Hey, that's all I'm gonna say. I mean, of 3 races, it's his second retirement in the races. Lewis Hamilton is ahead of him by 3 points. I honestly kind of see that as a detriment to Lewis and the Mercedes team because it's only 3 points and Lewis has finished all 3 races. So take with that what you will. But look at Leclerc. Even Carlos Sainz, he just DNF'd this race and is still ahead of Perez and Verstappen. It's just 2 great finishes.
So despite winning the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, he's now 46 points off the World Championship lead.
It's not an impossible
comeback. With 20
comeback.
races to go, there's plenty of time for Verstappen and Red Bull to catch up, but that's only possible with a reliable car. And so far, Red Bull has the worst finishing rate in the field, with Verstappen and Sergio Perez taking the checkered flag just 3 times in 6 attempts. To add to those reliability
but in fairness,
concerns,
when they do,
Verstappen
they're
and Red
always
Bull
up
were
front.
outpaced both in qualifying and the race in Australia, while Leclerc and Ferrari won after leading every lap from pole position. So what's the problem, and how big a threat are Red Bull's current struggles to Verstappen's hopes of defending the World Championship? Verstappen slowed and parked his Red Bull on lap 39 of the Australian Grand Prix at a point when he was 7.4 seconds behind Leclerc. But it's clear that Red Bull knew there was a problem long before this.
Really?
After the race, Red Bull team principal Christian Horner dismissed the suggestion that it was a problem with the Honda engine itself, describing the issue as an external fuel leak. Mention of it being related to fuel inevitably makes you think back to the Bahrain Grand Prix, where both Verstappen and Perez stopped with fuel cavitation, or vapour lock if you prefer.
So it is a problem with the engine then, is what I'm getting from this. So it's essentially the fuel line, or maybe not even the fuel line involved in the engine, but it's something involved with the fuel in the engine that is causing issues for the Red Bulls. I love it. It's drama. It's drama. I love it.
But this appears to be a very different problem of fuel escaping. As Horner said, the Red Bull pit wall was aware from the data that there was a problem,
and so they
while
were just trying to keep the car
also
alive.
smelled something problematic, as you would expect with a fuel leak. So this all points to a fuel leak somewhere in the system other than from the fuel bladder itself. Red Bull has not so far revealed the cause of the leak or where exactly it was occurring, but the leak must have been a significant one to have this consequence. Initial indications are that it might have been something as straightforward as a split fuel line. Verstappen was also asked to manage the car in a certain way through the turn 5 right-hander during the race because of a known problem. Whether this was related to the leak or not is unclear, but it could be that there was some combination of conditions in the car specifically in that corner that worsened the leak and required an adjustment to the way he drove to mitigate it.
Which would lead to Leclerc continuing to run away.
Related concern. After all, we also know Red Bull had other problems before the start, with work going on at the front of the car moments before the race. That adds up to a picture of a car that's not yet reliable enough to allow Verstappen to mount a proper title challenge. The key question is what caused the fuel leak and whether it was a one-off problem or something requiring countermeasures to prevent it recurring in the future.
But that's the thing though, is like, they had a good amount of time to dissect. Well, I mean, 3 races is maybe not a good amount of time, but there's gotta be something going on. Like, and they know it, but they just can't get to the bottom of it, which is insane to think about if you're the Red Bull team and you're that team of engineers. To see the car going down like this. It blows my mind. It really does blow my mind, but it's so cool.
Most likely it was an isolated issue, given the team quickly reassured Sergio Perez when he inquired about Verstappen's retirement that it definitely wasn't going to affect his car. But of course, there's nothing that can be done to make up for the 18 points Verstappen and Red Bull lost. In the first 2 events of the year in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, Verstappen had struggled more in qualifying while being strong in the race. Before Sunday, it seemed this pattern would be repeated in Australia, but Red Bull also struggled during the race itself, with Verstappen simply not at the same level as Leclerc. That was a real surprise. On Friday, Red Bull and Ferrari were close on long-run pace, with Verstappen appearing to have a slender advantage of maybe a tenth of a second over Leclerc. Single lap pace was a different story, and in qualifying, Leclerc took pole position with an advantage of almost 3 tenths over Verstappen. But even then, Verstappen was actually fractionally quicker than Leclerc over most of his qualifying lap, with all the time lost in the final 2 corners. Verstappen said after qualifying in response to a question from the race that he's found qualifying not very enjoyable so far this season, given problems achieving a consistent balance. He was comfortable with the car on the long runs, but on push laps he struggled. He complained that even when the car was working well, such as on the first Q3 run, what he called a random balance shift caused a time-sapping lockup. That was into the penultimate corner, perhaps explaining his caution on the second run. Generally, Sergio Perez has been a little happier with the car in qualifying trim, hence his pole position in South.
So Max just wants to race. He really does just want to race. He can't be bothered. But even then, like, he doesn't get the opportunity to because the car is giving up on him.
But this has been a consistent problem for Verstappen. But in Australia, Red Bull wasn't actually too concerned on Saturday as, after all, the Red Bull would be strong in the race. Wouldn't it? It was clear early on in the race that Red Bull was really in trouble. Verstappen was one of the first drivers to complain about graining, with the front left tyre suffering midway through his opening stint. Save for the moment at the restart after the safety car when Verstappen attacked Leclerc into turn 1 but couldn't pass him, he was never a threat. Red Bull's struggles came as a shock not only to Verstappen but even to dominant winner Leclerc. The question for Red Bull was whether its race struggles were circuit-specific, a one-off where tyre troubles on the resurfaced and reconfigured Albert Park track caught it out, or was it a trend that could continue in future races?
I think it's a trend that could continue, guys. I really do think it's a trend that could continue. Because every time Verstappen would go to go for him, it would just never get close.
Verstappen's 46-point deficit constitutes a crisis. But history does tell us that it can be difficult to overturn such a big gap. For Verstappen to turn that disadvantage into a title win this year would require him to set a new record. This would eclipse the 44-point deficit Sebastian Vettel reversed to beat Fernando Alonso to the 2012 World Championship. And that was with Red Bull having a clear performance advantage over Ferrari that Verstappen currently does not have. Of course, 25 points for a win was only introduced in 2010, so that distorts this record. But even so, history tells us that it is rare to overturn a gap of this magnitude. If you adjust the gaps on a pro rata basis to put the pre-22 points deficits into today's money, only 6 times has a bigger gap been made up by a title winner. After all, playing catch-up is difficult and Ferrari has proved to be consistent.
Listen, I need to know about that James Hunt one. How are you coming back from down 97 points to win the title? That James Hunt one is insane, but
and reliable so far this year, with its one retirement down to Carlos Sainz's error in Australia. This means Red Bull can't count on taking big chunks out of the lead. No wonder Verstappen later joked about needing 45 more races to catch up. Christian Horner has suggested that Ferrari's advantage is partly down to starting work on the 2022 car earlier, thanks to the fact Red Bull was embroiled in a title fight last year. So the hope is that Red Bull's development rate will, from here, be faster. But it doesn't matter how fast your car is.
I was going to say it doesn't matter if he continues to just beat him up.
A competitive car, and based on the 3 races so far, its Australian Grand Prix struggles are an outlier. The priority is to ensure that it puts the reliability problems behind it as soon as possible, for there to be a good chance of catching Leclerc and Ferrari, even with 20 races to go. But as Christian Horner said after the race, "I'd rather fix a fast car than make a slow one fast."
I'd rather fix a fast car than make a slow one fast. I mean, the people who make the race, I think, are pretty much telling us Ferrari are going to find a way to win this season. The thing is, I don't see Leclerc ever being at a disadvantage in any of these races because he's already so far ahead. And like the only race where it was a definitive sort of Red Bull had the advantage was Bahrain. No, sorry, not Bahrain, Jeddah. And it's because they were a lot faster on the straights. But even here, when they were faster on the straights, they just could not catch Ferrari. Insane to me. It's insane to me. But anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below on Max Verstappen and F1 and the Red Bull team's reliability issues. It seems insane to me that they're going to go down like this. But Ferrari were ready to play this year. They really are. I love it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.